Joke. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We're live, by the way.
Oh, fantastic. We're live. All right. Woohoo. Hello and welcome to. Are we actually live?
Yeah, we're actually live.
Oh my god. Hello and waking to.
Oh my god, this is why you never do the intro. Hello and welcome to Waking Up.
How I'll just sit here and sip my coffee.
Actually, Ray and I love ring pops. Ray.
Ring pops. What? Why are we talking about ring pops?
Because Kevin, my hair is like flying everywhere, y'all. When I say just waking up, I mean I woke up like long enough ago to like put on a decent shirt and make coffee, but my hair is a mess. I'm like, I need a brush, and then I thought because as you can tell, I moved my desk around, and so which I love, but I saw everything's
really
moved. Good. Everything's moved, and I was like, now I went and grabbed a brush. I told Sean I need like a little like basket or something, drawers under my desk that has like a hairbrush and makeup and maybe a couple of shirts that can change into just like, he's like a streamer survival kit. I was like, yes. And then he's like patent pending. So hello, welcome to Waking Up. I am Aroogs, and this is my co-host Sean. You're right. Your webcam is so far away.
You're so. I feel like I'm on the other side of the room.
Okay, hold on. I can fix that on my end a little bit, but I already have you like shrunk down a lot.
See, you can. So in Ninja, there's ability for me to adjust it, but
we're not in Ninja.
We're not in Ninja, so I've been playing around with this camera and my Insta360 camera to figure out the proper. Because I have this, but I also have to have the camera for my Lego build.
And I told him, I was like, you just need to get a new camera. And he's like, oh, I was like, welcome to being a content creator instead of a producer. And he's all like, right. Fine. I was like, yeah, okay. All right, look. I zoomed you in a little bit. Look, people can now see your lovely face. I got you, boo.
Really? Okay. That's fine.
It's the appropriate moment of it's the appropriate amount of just a little.
Just a little. You know what? It's fine.
Hold on, I got you.
All I need is the tip.
There you go. We got a large amount of pep now. Yeah.
More pep. Yay.
We have more pep. Do they?
Yeah, I mean, I could switch. I could switch to the other camera and.
Yeah, you can switch. Yeah, you will.
I mean, that's the wrong button. No, that's.
Oh my God! Stop pushing buttons. All right. Well, I'm gonna get this out of the way because I forgot last week. So, because we were out of our groove and routine. Because as a neurospicy person, routine is important. So here on Waking Up. We are not here to bash anybody's religious beliefs or faith. We think faith and religion are beautiful things when done in an emotionally and mentally healthy manner. We are not licensed professionals. We are not therapists. We are not counselors. We are not any of the sort. We are not even life coaches. We're not certified for anything except certifiably something. We are just two traumatized people who are just trying to navigate our mental and emotional health and our traumas that we have, the trauma wounds that we have in regards to our religious upbringing and just the injuries that happened because of that. And so, but if you do need professional help, we do have resources for you to help you get in touch with the people that are professionals. And so if you need any help, please contact us on any of the social medias at NerdMomAce. I'm actually really excited the fact that I got all of those. That's the way you made it. So contact us at NerdMomAce, and we can certainly help get you those resources, that information. Sean and I both grew up in the Carolinas. It is the buckle of the Bible Belt, Billy Graham territory. We grew up Southern Baptist, which, if you don't know, is an evangelical denomination of the Christian faith, and it is very evangelical. And we grew up in the late 90s and 2000s. Let's just leave it in that. We'll leave it in a 2-decade gap. And
don't say the 1900s.
Well, it is the 1900s.
Just call it that.
It is what it is. But we grew up in a time when it was actually the country was very conservative, and they did a lot of things like the puritanical and martyr mindset. So, which does the damage to you. So it's fine. It's cool. Yeah.
So much. It's fine. Yeah.
I have
We're
to
good.
identify to be sure no one tries me. I'm trying to see the chat. They're already having their own conversation.
I know y'all are.
And
loving
also
it.
had oh my God. Okay. Speaking of funny, you should say that, Shifty Bricks. So I'll tell a story. Over Memorial Day, Sea Rugs, there was a huge sale. We have a water park, like by a Six Flags water park, right by my, like literally like a mile from my house. And so there was a huge sale for a family pat, and it gets you to all the Six Flags parks over the country too. So we went ahead and we got season passes because my new house is right here. Sea Rugs' house, neither one of us have pools. So we thought, hey, okay, this is something cool. And, something we do with our kids over the summer. And so I got a half day. I had the kids last week. And so I had a half day on Friday, and I was like, oh, you know what? I've had a really rough week and I got a half day. I could go home and like clean my house and, just but you know what? No, I'm not going to work because, I work 2 jobs. I said, I'm not going to work my second job until I'm supposed to in the evening. I'm going to spend some time with my kids. So the water park closes at 6. So I was like, okay, so we're going to go to the water park. And we went to the water park and had a good time. But I told my girls I said, hey, and they have been, the older they get, the more, as you get into middle school and you get to that questioning age, you get to that, I want to sort of that's when you really start. That's why middle school is just so terrible, because you're still trying. I mean, in high school you are too, but middle school, you're really starting to separate from your parents. Like you're really starting. And so you're questioning everything. And so my kids have been really questioning me about my upbringing and my religious background, because they're, I live in Texas. It's super religious here and very conservative. But we are a very not conservative household in very many aspects. And so they asked me about my upbringing, and I told them, I said, hey girls, you want to know a fun fact? And they're like, sure. I said, I used to go to a water park exactly like this, except it was religious based. And they're like, of course it was. And we're like, yep. I was like, Heritage USA. And they're like, Heritage USA? I was like, yep, Emerald Point. And they're like, oh God. They're like, what did you do? Slide down Jesus? And I was like, she's like, were all those slides like biblical themed? I was like, no. I was like, it was just, they played Christian music over the loudspeakers. And they're like, I was like, yeah.
Like being at a Chick-fil-A.
So, did you guys go in to see John?
Did everyone have to wear one piece things?
Yeah, Heritage USA is shady. Like that whole complex. Like I remember when it first opened. As a kid. I remember we went there all the time. And now, because like Blue Ellie, like she's my bestie, so I go there. But it is like right there, and it's right by my dad's house. So like when I go past there, it's like I get this slimy feeling about it.
Like, creepy crawlies. Yeah. Oh God. Wow.
Yeah. That was funny. Did you ever go to Heritage USA? Did you go to Emerald Point? Because you were far away. You were further away. You were in the
I feel like I'm pretty sure I went at some point, but yeah, because I grew up in the Raleigh Durham area, so it wasn't. We were.
My new setup. Mouse is now his full view of everyone. Now Mouse is my sidekick. Mouse is now my
Mom. Now we see more than the ball. Now we see the whole.
You're gonna see the whole attitude.
No, that's right. Yep. The sit and stare. No, we used to do. We used to go out to the beach.
Oh yeah, the beach was close to you.
Emerald Isle, I think it was called. There was we there was a beach house out there that we used to go to, and so we went like a couple times a year out there. Big youth group stayed for the weekend and came back. But all the rules for a youth group trip, so much fun. Can't you
You
get
know what?
pile into the big butt?
I feel like we should hold that for next week. I think that
Okay.
that is something we should talk about next week.
Yeah, the church trips.
The church trip.
Trips,
The
church
church
summer
trips.
camp,
Yes. You know
summer
what?
camp.
That's next week. We're
Yeah.
gonna
All
do that
right.
next. What? No. Sit.
Pay attention.
No. Look, you have plenty of room.
Respect
Sit.
the on-air sign, Mouse.
So I never went. So yeah, happy Sky Daddy Day.
Yes, happy Sky Daddy Day.
I you
It is
know
a big day.
I feel like saying Happy Father's Day is way different than saying Happy Daddy Day.
Oh my god. Wow. Yeah, it does kind of have a little bit of a different feeling to it. It does.
Happy Daddy Day. I mean, it's like you feel like
Yeah.
that's how you have to say it.
I mean, well, yeah,
Like if you say,
well, if you said
go
if
ahead.
you say Happy Father's Day like that, it feels different.
Well, even if you say Happy
That's
Father's Day, it's still not as like as sexually overtoned as Happy Daddy Day. Like it just doesn't have that punch to it. And then
yeah,
hey,
that's true.
then all you
Oh god.
thanks for being my father. Thanks for being my daddy. Like, come on.
That's
Like,
a whole different.
Sean's visibly
Tell me
uncomfortable
you
now.
have
He's
a-
like, they got
Tell me
everything.
you have a kink without telling me you have a kink.
What? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, not at all.
Nope.
Nah. And if you're interested in that, there's a podcast.
Well, we are restarting. We're actually going to be, hopefully, with the help of you guys, I think we're going to be restarting Release the Kingster. We're going to do a reboot.
Yay.
Hey, but you know what,
Speaking of
Sean?
Daddy's Day.
Yeah, speaking of Daddy Day, I think, but you know what, Sean, though? I think we've been way more successful at reboots than we have original, like, I feel like that. I feel like reboots are more.
Our first runs, our first everything is like the pancake.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but not great. But you know what? Our reboots are better.
Once we've worked out the kinks.
Get out.
I'll see myself out. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The only problem with this camera angle right now, though, is like they can see everything down to my window, so it's like because they're not here.
Oh, you're uncomfortable. We're not. We're good. I mean, you could elevate it a little bit.
But no, I can't. Actually, I can't.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's fine. Actually, I don't hate it. It's just different. I'm trying to get used to it. That's why I keep fussing with my shirt,
Yeah.
folks, is because I'm just trying to get used to it. Because I'm so used to everybody just seeing from like here up. So like there's a whole third of the screen that I'm not used to y'all seeing. So I'm like have to be like
You're a little self-conscious.
I am.
Well, I like.
Oh, Calvino says what? You know what? Pep Silver Star. Yeah. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It would need content. I mean, for a 5-year-old, it'd be the same for you. I mean, fair.
So, speaking of Father's Day. Let me Father's Day.
Yeah.
Because Daddy's Day goes a whole different direction.
Well, I feel like we need a Daddy's Day. I think as Release the Kingster, like we need to have a Daddy and Mommy Day.
We totally do. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. I don't want to wait. We shouldn't wait a whole year in order to release. Like releasing it on.
We shouldn't. Yeah, I would hate to. I mean, some people are into that. I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. But this is that's a totally different podcast.
Oh my god! Wow. All right. At first, I was like, "What are you talking?" Oh no! Oh, never mind.
Oh, has it been that long, boo boo?
It has been.
Oh, that's right. You're in North Carolina. You don't get any porn.
Right. Exactly.
What's everyone's favorite Father's Day memories?
Ooh. Favorite?
I don't really have one. Okay, Calvino, here's the reason I don't really have one. One, my parents divorced when I was 10. Two, remember my my mother is very narcissistic, and so Mother's Day was way more important than Father's Day. And so there wasn't, I mean, I had my stepdad who was wonderful. I do remember the one thing, I mean, there wasn't a favorite memory necessarily about Father's Day, but I do know he was that no matter what we got him, which was the stark difference between him and my mom, my stepdad and my mom, is no matter what we got him, the ugliest tie or the ugliest shirt, no matter what it was that we got him, he always wore it. He always made sure to
Oh,
wear
that
it, no
is really
matter how good. But my mom, on the other hand, it was just like every time I gave her a gift, it was like, oh, that's nice. And you never saw it again. Like, so yeah, that's that. That's the big difference. So I don't really have a
gotcha.
favorite Father's Day memory, but I do have a memory is that my stepdad, every time I got him, and my dad's great, but because they're divorced, I very rarely saw him on Father's Day. So yeah.
Gotcha. I this is gonna sound really bad. I'm
Read what Jay wrote.
yes, that my God. I am I am having a problem thinking of a really positive memory of my dad. Not just the Father's Day. Like
Why?
there are I I don't know. I'm kind of struggling right now going there's got to be some. Like I have memories and I'd have memories that aren't necessarily bad memories, but they're not like heartwarming or like, oh, that was a special moment or something. Yeah.
Tell me you have emotional. Tell me you have trauma without telling me you have trauma. You don't
See,
remember shit.
I never thought that was a thing. That is a big thing. The whole
Oh my god, you didn't think that was a thing?
no, not until I was in therapy, not until my recent therapy. I didn't know that was a thing. Like the lack of memories is a trauma response.
I actually had that discussion with my therapist this week actually.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, I don't know what we were talking about, but I was like, I don't have like my childhood. It's like I have moments. I have moments. I remember my childhood in moments, and they're not little moments. Like some people are like, "Oh, I have this memory or this little," and no, I have like
Hmm.
my life is big blank spaces in my head. Like I don't have like I have big blank spaces, and it's just big moments.
Hmm.
And other than that, it's just like I don't remember the mundane. I don't have like this whole, like these little memories. I don't have little memories. They're either big memories or they don't exist. And
Hmm.
yeah, like the disassociation as a child was real. Like absolutely real. Yeah.
Mm. Um. Yeah, and who qualifies as a father and versus who doesn't? Um, biological versus not biological.
It doesn't matter, I don't think.
No, I don't think it does either. Not at all.
I think we're
Um,
I think honestly we grew up in a generation where it had to be like the person who gave you your DNA. And it was
mhm.
very taboo if the person who raised you was not the person that gave you your DNA. But I think nowadays,
Yeah.
because we have so many same sex families and just alternate families, um,
There's a lot more blended. There's a lot more well because during when we grew up, divorce was still very frowned upon.
mhm.
So you had families that stayed together, parents who stayed together that probably shouldn't have. Um, right? So whereas now it's not as big of a thing. So you have a lot more of those um, blended families, the split parents that multiple there's so many different, so many variations of what a family looks like now, that the idea that it has to be blood is kind of just, I think that's gone by the wayside.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I used to
It's a lot
say,
more.
oh, go ahead.
I would say it's a lot more about father figures,
Yeah.
and than biological, the DNA.
And I
So
don't even think, okay, and just here's on that. I don't think it has to be a man. I think, why does it have to be father or mother? Why can't it just be a parental figure?
that's very true. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the roles, I think those roles too, like who's going to teach, like, okay, say a lesbian couple has a son, and they're like, well, who's going to teach him to be a man?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? What does being a
Yeah,
man
that's a good
mean?
point.
And why, like, I think I think we're moving past that. I think for me, I know for
Yeah.
my kids, it's not necessarily about, I mean, female or male. I mean, that's something that obviously kids can identify with, but if it's not something that is harped on as you have to be a man. And how does that make that kid feel? Like you have to be, and how does that make me feel? I'm a woman who is perfectly capable of using power tools. I mean, I can't fix a car worth a damn. I mean, I accept my limitations, but I am just as computer savvy. I'm just as like I can do most things that any
The,
man can do, and I
the
can fix a
stereo,
car.
well,
I can fix a car if I
the
wanted to.
stereotypical things, even.
Right.
That's the thing, is the gender roles, we've assigned tasks to those gender roles.
Right.
And why have we done that? Why does that have to be the way we continue to do it?
And what if they're
Why does it?
born male and they transitioned into a female and they are now identify
Yep.
as that? Or they're non-binary. I think that I know in this podcast, we are absolutely past the point of stereotypical, like mother, father roles, like that
Yeah.
type of thing. And female and male. I think, I identify as a female. I use she and her pronouns, but I absolutely like, oh, you're non-binary? Okay, they, them. All right, what pronouns? Oh, you want to be, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you want to be called? I don't care. Like, it doesn't change who you are as a person. If you want to identify as something, if that is something that I'm totally okay with that. That doesn't change how I feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally believe the same thing with my kids. Like, if they transitioned or they wanted to be something else, it's fine. I think it's a big thing. Also, it's like, men wearing makeup. Like
That's
you identify as
college.
right. You identify as male. They're still male. They, whatever, but they just like wearing makeup. They like looking like they like wearing. Like, why does it have to be?
What I find funny is the use of the word traditional, because tradition, when people say like the traditional father, the traditional male, the traditional family, like traditional family values, that kind of thing, it's like, what is their context of traditional?
Look how much it scarred
almost
us.
but like wearing makeup, if you go past the 50s, because a lot of times when people use the word traditional, they're talking about like the 50s, the mid 1900s. But if you go before then, if you go hundreds of years ago, the things that they did were very different. Men wearing makeup, men wearing skirts, men. There's a whole lot of different things that happened that we've just kind of ignored. That's not traditional. What's traditional is what tends to be is what traditional is. Traditional is what I knew growing up. That's what I'm going to call traditional.
Mm-hmm.
But traditional is, the tradition, all that stuff typically falls into that. You have to follow this gender role. That's what they want traditional to be. It ends up becoming a identity marker. It's what makes me good and you bad. What makes me right and you wrong is traditional. Men in high, yeah.
Men in high heels. Listen. I follow some people, men who identify as men who do makeup way better. They do all these makeup tutorials that I follow. Like, they do it twice as good as me. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm like, boo boo, tell me how to contour.
Yeah. I like the nail polish. There's a lot of guys that I follow on TikTok that have their nails painted, and like that used to be, oh my god, if you had your nails painted, that was whoo. Now it's like I see it all the time. Especially if they end up having, especially like the fathers of their daughters, like my daughter wants to paint my nails. You think I'm going to say no? Absolutely not.
Aww.
Yeah. So I like seeing a lot of these stereotypical, these traditional things being thrown out, because something I learned years ago is tradition is the hobgoblin of little minds. Sticking to tradition because it's for tradition's sake is a very small-minded thing to do.
Oh yeah.
So, Calvina, you're saying I need to get my nails painted? Hey, I got a pedicure for the first time a couple months ago.
I had to drag him, y'all.
Yes.
You want to talk about like, oh, no. You want to talk about this mindset that he's got?
But that had nothing to do with being manly or macho.
I know.
That had to do with me being self-conscious.
Okay, yeah, here, folks, here we go. I'm gonna call your ass out because I think because everybody has dealt with this. I've dealt with this as well, but I'm calling you. I was like, let's go get our feet done. Let's go get our feet done. I already get like my feet. I was like, I need to go get my feet and my nails done. So let's go. And I'll take you. You can get a pedicure. It's great. You can get a pedicure. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, why not? He's like, well, my feet are really like, they're just really bad.
Ratchet.
They're ratchet. I think, did you say ratchet? I'm pretty sure you said ratchet.
I think I did.
He's like, my feet are pretty. I was like, tell me you were a guard without telling me you were a guard. But he's like, my feet are gross. Right. They're ratchet. I was like, so we'll go get a pedicure. And he's like,
we'll do the thing to fix it.
We'll do the thing that we'll go. It's fine. He's like, I don't know.
I can't go to fix it until I fix it.
Right. And I was like, what? Like, I was like, what's not computing? He's like, I just don't know. I mean, I could go with you. I was like, so you have a problem and I'm offering a solution, but you don't want to do the solution because of the problem. You have to fix the problem before you go to the solution.
Fix the problem. Yes, exactly.
What?
I'm glad you see you got it.
I was like, no. And I was like, I'm not quite following this logic here. And he goes, I was like, that's the whole reason to go get a pedicure pen.
Well, now that I've had one, Calvino, I would agree with you. You're absolutely right. They are pretty fantastic.
My youngest daughter is texting me, and she has gotten into calling me female guardian.
What?
My youngest hatchling, let me tell you, she is. I love, like, both of them are, as they, speaking of going into middle school, are really growing into themselves, like really, like
yeah.
And it's just every day it's something new. And I'm like, and I look at them, and then it's just like, where did you get? Oh, sorry. Like, it's that whole, like, you get hit in the face. It's like, this is what I would have been like had I not had all the repressive trauma. Okay, cool.
Where'd you get that from? Who taught that to you? You did, Mom. I learned it from watching you.
Actually, no, they didn't learn that from watching me. Yep. I taught that to them because it was if they learned it from watching me, they'd be totally different people. But it's like cleaning the house before cleaning. Hey, listen, don't listen. Yeah, I don't need to be called out like that. Nah.
Right. Yes. not okay. He who has not cleaned the house before the cleaners came can cast the first stone.
Okay, so I have not cleaned. I have picked up though, because I know, like, I personally, like, I've known her for years, like the cleaning lady that used to clean our house. Like, she was one of the janitors, custodians for the school we worked at. And she specifically did the fine arts area. So she, like, cleaned the band hall. Like, her area was the band. And so, like, we had known her forever. And, like, she helped, like, when she was there, because of after school rehearsal and stuff, she would play with the kids. Like, she watched our kids grow up. So it was like, we knew her. So it was like, I don't need you to, like, know me. Like, there's some stuff that I don't need you to know.
You close the bedroom drawers, you put the bags away.
Except like she cleaned our kids' rooms all the time. Like she covered for the
Oh
kids a
yeah,
lot. Yeah, she
really.
yeah, she did.
She threw away the candy wrappers.
She did. She covered for the kids a lot.
Oh my god, that's funny. He's practically part of the family.
Oh, this show has gone completely off the rails. That's fine.
Hmm I used to I used to call my parents the parental unit sometimes. It was me and my cousin. We used to do that. We just call them parental units. I
Dangerous waters.
dangerous waters. Oh yeah, calling old man. Hey, that's what y'all call me. Y'all call me old man. Rouge, you do that all the time.
You are an
Old
old man.
man. I don't need you to call it out.
You look great for your age. We have gotten to that point where
I do.
people are like, "How old are you?" And I'm like,
hmm
you would have never known. Thanks. I hope to make that last for another. I'm nursing that for another five or
Yeah.
10 years. I'm gonna nurse that one for a while.
I look if the pedicure fits. Thanks, Blue Ellie. Um, I look back at pictures for me like 10 years ago, and like I do see myself as looking better than I used to. As like yeah, like I feel like I've aged pretty well, but I've also worked a lot.
You're
harder to take
welcome,
care of myself.
society. You're welcome. You're
Wait, what are
welcome.
you trying to say? Oh,
You are welcome. Because let me tell you the story of Pep Pep when we first rebooted.
wow! Buckle up, y'all.
So when we were rebooted, Sean and I were very, 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 very different places in our life. So
We hadn't been anyone that didn't know. We hadn't been communicating for like 15 years.
right. So I don't know what sparked the conversation. I think it was you were getting ready to trim your goatee or something with your goatee.
Yeah.
So Pep, let me paint a picture for you.
It's a good thing we don't have any pictures of that. Oh crap!
Really? You really want me to dig back in my archives?
No, keep
Okay.
talking.
All right.
Keep talking.
You know what? I should have like a Patreon or something. It's like if you want to see this, you can donate $1 or something. Anyway, so you were getting ready to trim your goatee, and I think you sent me a selfie, a snap, and
Mhm.
so Pep had this nice long-ish hair. It's that medium in between hair. It wasn't long, but it wasn't short and well kept like it is now. It was sort of just like moppy.
This is haircut yesterday.
Yeah, it was like moppy. Like it like maybe like was
Baby
long hair.
It was not baby face.
No.
I haven't had baby face since high school.
And no. And it was like sort of like that in between weird thing, but he kept it that length because he thought like he didn't want it long, but he didn't want it short. So he just tried, he very Dawson's Creek level. So then, and he also had these rectangular, like he didn't wear he had contacts, but he didn't wear them a lot because they were his old prescription. So he had these glasses that were rectangle, which were the same style as his ex-wife because his ex-wife said he should get them because she got them. So he got these had these rectangle transition glasses. And
we're going to need to find a picture.
Yes. And then
he
didn't
appreciate this.
I think, did you have the mustache or just the goatee? I can't remember.
No, I had the mustache, but my mustache has never come in like
they never fill in. So he had like this mustache, but then this goatee, goatee. So, and it was just like right here on the chin. It's just like goatee. Not a flattering look. But
well, it wasn't clean and kempt and perfectly. It was just like growth. That's what it was.
Not a soul patch. No, like one of those somebody stuck a goatee. A couple
inches long.
Yeah, like it was like. So he's like,
there's a picture floating around somewhere.
I'm sure I have one. So yeah, and he was like, so I was
Shaggy. Yes, it was like it looked like Shaggy. Probably.
Yeah, and so he asked me about it, and I was like, do you want? I learned. I was like, do
Oh,
you
you did the
want?
Aroogs thing
I
too.
did. Do you want my honest opinion, or do you just, do you just want me to tell you? Like, he's like, you were like, no, I want your honest opinion. He didn't know.
Famous last words.
Famous last word, because it wasn't very long after we started talking again. It was like maybe a couple weeks or
Was
so,
yeah, if
and
that.
I was like, okay, well, here we go. First off,
You asked for it.
you need a haircut. What is your opposition to like those glasses need to go? Like those, like what is it? And this facial hair, nah, you need to grow in a beard. And I think your face would look really good with a beard. And you need to trim that and keep it up. And there's thing called beard products, like facial hair products. Use it. I was like, oh, also it's called skincare, because he was like all crazy and gross, like his whole head. I was like, it's called skincare. Skincare. Get yourself some good shampoo and conditioner and some like I was like, I went through this whole list, and he was like.
Yeah, it was time for a makeover.
Because then, of course, he did the pep thing and started arguing with me. Well, this is why I do that. I was like, you wanted my opinion. I was like, you know what? You do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit, but you wanted my opinion. So, like, I don't give a shit. This is my opinion. It is just my opinion. If you feel like you want to do, but you asked me. So, I hate that.
I did. Mm-hmm. So I started making changes.
I remember when you first started growing out your beard because your brother was still living with you and they both had made a comment about it.
Yeah.
So. What are you doing? I don't know. I feel like I look good that way.
Yeah. Well, like my brother had a beard off and on. It wasn't. The big comment came from the ex because that was, I think, when she found out about the reboot.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. So the ex wasn't happy about it because whether she liked it or not, she didn't say. She wouldn't say. When she finally commented on it, it was after she had found out about the reboot. And my ex and Aroogs have history. They were in college together. So my ex very much did not like Aroogs. And so her thing was
they're doing something outside, and I thought it was something that was about to blow up in my house. I was like, oh, I could hear it through I could hear it through my it's like it's loud noise. I was like, is shit gonna blow up? It's like on stream. Anyway,
yeah. if suddenly, yeah. So she was like, you're just doing it because she likes it.
Yeah. Yeah, you were.
First of all, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. And second, yeah, you were, because that's where you were in your headspace. You were doing it because some hot girl told you to.
Well, of course. I mean, who doesn't?
Who doesn't do what Aroogs tells them to? My kids.
Well, sure. But that's what initiated it. But then I grew it out and I got rid of the goatee and grew out the. And I actually, I liked it. I liked it better. I think it looks better much better than the goatee. So
you look much younger. It did age you. The whole thing aged you. Yeah. I think
everything. Yeah, everything about that period. That period of my life.
I actually told you to start tucking in your shirts.
Oh, what?
I know.
Yeah. Went through an appearance change. Went through a wardrobe change. Because my ex has no sense of style, and yeah, that's
you know what's funny? I used to make fun of your ex because she was like way into unicorns and stuff, and I'm like, I'm over here into dragons, but I at least make dragons look sophisticated and cool. Like I don't look like a 12-year-old like threw up some rainbow everywhere, like
Yeah. Living has aged me. Yeah, living will do that to you.
Blue Ellie actually texted me. She's right.
What?
Hey, Blue Ellie.
All right.
Hey, you want to be?
I'm out of the loop, aren't I?
She's coming to visit me. Her and
really?
her hatchling. Her and her hatchling.
Nice. Oh my God, that is amazing. Oh, that is.
Really nice. I know. My bestie's coming to Texas. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
I have all the people coming to visit me. Yay!
You do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And actually, not this coming week, but the next week is my youngest hatchling's birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Got everything ready?
She wants to do an escape room and a
Mm-hmm.
sleepover. So
Aw,
yeah,
that
I mean
sounds
she's
like
doing a
fun.
Harry Potter escape room. So if you
Fantastic.
guys want to
That's
send gifts, let me know. Message me if you want to send gifts for the hatchling. That would be. I think she would find that pretty cool, but you don't have to. But
Amazon wish list for the hatchling.
for the hatchling, oh god, no, that thing would be like 18 million. That girl loves them Amazon. She loves Amazon like Mama loves Amazon. It's pretty bad.
Oh my god.
But okay, but like we've spent an hour, like 45 minutes just chatting about stupid shit, which is
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
It is what it is. But I
Mm-hmm.
do have a question for you. Considering it's Pride Month,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to do a Pride episode. Actually, I want to do a couple in the next couple of weeks, so I know it's like the middle of the month, literally. Like it is the exact, and I've gone 2 weeks and we haven't really addressed it as Team AOA.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to in the next couple of weeks talk about that. But
Sure.
I love and this is my favorite shirt, by the way. I think this is still my favorite
Yeah, your
shirt that
pride.
I've ever designed. My Pride shirt.
It's very well done. Mm-hmm.
Still my favorite I have ever done. Still probably one of, other
Yeah.
than, I think other than my geeky and kinky
That's a good
and,
one. I like that one.
no kink shaming. I think no kink shaming is another
That
one
was
of
one
my
of your
favorite.
early ones.
Mhm. I'm still proud of that one. That one was good for being
Yeah,
my early work.
absolutely.
So my dad knows I'm bi. Like I came out and it was very unceremonious. Like I think it was just, and it's one of those things like we sort of acknowledge, but don't. I just sort of said it in conversation. I said, I think of it this past year. I think it was just this past year that I came out to, maybe last
Mm-hmm.
summer. And I just sort of said it. And,
Mm-hmm.
he just sort of acknowledged it, and we went about. It wasn't a big deal, but like I know you haven't come out to your parents yet, and you're
I have
talking about
not.
like having your dad. Like we know how your mom would probably react to that.
Mm-hmm.
She'd try to pray the gay away, pray the bi away.
Yeah,
Like how do
she
you think
would.
your dad would react to that? Because you don't talk a lot about your relationship with your dad.
Not well, and I base it on something that happened many years ago as to why. Um, so we had our annual beach trip. This is several years ago. Annual beach trip, and this when I was still married. Um, and long story short,
With speaking of, that's what my dad would say. My dad says that all the time.
yeah, uh, my ex decided she wanted to poke the bear. She wanted to poke. She wanted. I think that's what she was going for. She was just bored and wanted to poke. So
What?
right. So after a lot of back and forth between my parents and my ex regarding what the Bible says about homosexuality, my dad goes down to the parking lot and comes back with the family Bible that is like this thick. It's massive. And he drops it on the table and starts flipping pages. And I'm like, oh, Lord. I'm like, you know what? I'm exiting stage the other way. um, so
Exiting
just
stage the
thinking
other
about,
way. You didn't even pick it. You
yeah,
didn't
exactly.
extend that direction. I'm just going that
I'm
way.
out. I'm gone. Just remembering how he reacted so strongly about that. That firmly believing that it was wrong and the Bible says it's wrong. I and that was just a conversation about homosexuality in general. So for me to tell him that I'm bi, I don't think he can respond well.
Exit stage
Um,
not here.
yeah. um, and I don't see him as one. I don't see him as the father that goes, you know what? It's your life. I may not agree with it, but it is your life, and I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you anyway. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. I don't see it being like that. Um,
Which makes me wonder. It make it makes me
um,
wonder some things like they just clicked
yeah,
with me.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I have thoughts.
um,
That's your private. That's a private conversation. I don't want
yeah,
to air your. That's.
that's a separate conversation. Yeah, I don't, I don't think, but I don't know whether because my mom tends to be the one who like whenever I've had a lot of the religious discussions over the last couple of years, my mom's the one that tends to have those chime into those conversations, whereas my dad doesn't. Um, so I don't know if I'm sure my mom will. I know my mom would have a lot of questions, but my dad, like, I'm not sure whether he would just sit there or whether he would. I think he would. I think he might be. I think he might sit there because he might be kind of stunned and not sure what to do. Like, as far as because he's where did I learn to intellectualize and repress emotions?
Do you think
From
it's
the dead.
because he might be a little gay?
I don't know. I've never. I don't think there's anything that necessarily. I I mean I know the I don't know. I don't think so, but you can't rule
But
it out. Usually when someone argues that vehemently about against something, it's because they're fighting their own demons.
that's
Um,
what makes me wonder.
yeah, that is the thing that does lend some credence to the idea of it. I can't think of anything necessarily else that does, but that is a big part. I mean, that is a big thing when someone is that vehemently opposed.
Right.
So I mean, it could be.
Okay. This is driving me nuts. Can you continue to talk? I've got to figure out what this is. I will be right back.
But
I can't
oh,
like
are you go back up?
it's
Okay,
so loud
yeah,
and I just have to see what it is. I have to put my eyes on it
okay.
just in case my
I
house
can't hear
does blow
anything.
up.
So.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
yeah, because my
gotcha.
mic settings are freaking amazing and that's how I roll. But I
That's
mean,
true. Yeah,
it is
but
like I
it
don't
is
want
bothering me. Okay,
something to blow up in my house. I really don't. Or flood. So let's see.
gotcha. So the first person I've come out the first person I say the first person I came out to the first family member that I came out to was my cousin because my cousin and I are really close. It's a one specific cousin. Her and I are really close. We grew up together, hanging out a lot and whatnot, visiting each other. Um, so she's kind of like she was the safe person. Um, there's an air peek out the yeah yeah. I don't think she's gonna peek out the blinds. I think she's just straight gonna walk outside or pull up the ring doorbell. Who knows? Um, but she's the person I feel safe to tell. And she's although she grew up religious and in the church, she's not where I'm at, but like she's in that spot where she's not disillusioned. Um, cousins are that yeah, absolutely. I she's like she feels I'm closer to her than I'm closer to my cousin than I am to my brothers. Um, so her and I get together every couple of months for dinner and catch up, chat, whatever. So I told her. She was the first family member I told. So are you gonna blow up? What's gonna happen?
I was gonna blow up. It was my ice machine.
That noise came from your ice machine?
Yeah, I was apparently it got over frozen, and I was like, "What?" So I went outside, and I was
And it
like,
was
"Oh,
like grind. Uh-huh.
yeah." So I turned
Uh-huh.
it off. Hopefully, it'll melt.
Ooh. You let it
Okay,
thaw out a little
I
bit?
might need a new
All
ice
right.
machine. Oh
Already? Oh God.
no! Do you know
Okay.
how often I use that shit?
A lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Well hopefully if you once it thaws out, it'll be all right.
So anyway, sorry. Go ahead. You were talking.
That's right. I told her and she reacted the way I expected her. She was very accepting of it. She's like, okay. You know, that's really cool. She's like, I had no idea, but I mean that's your life, and I think that's really cool, and I got no problem with it. And you know, like I said, she's like what I call the white sheep of the family. She's religious, but she is not the extreme that the rest of her family is, and my parents are. So, um, Yeah, so it was a fairly safe, easy conversation. So at one point we got to talking about, she's like, so do you have an idea when you're going to tell your parents? Because of course she's fully aware of where my parents are at.
What?
Um, yeah, and the conversation that ensued really struck me at, and is why I still haven't told them yet.
Mhm.
So as her and I were talking about it, the idea of me telling my parents, I made a comment that said, it would, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was like, that would really I think that might really piss them off. Like that would be a great way to kind of like stick it to them.
So as a guy who got a tattoo
Um,
just to be rebellious to them.
yes. Is to, with all the trauma that I've had from my childhood and whatnot, to go, guess what parents I'm by. And she looked at me and was like, wow, are really what was it, hurt, you're really angry. Like, I'm not sure if that's the best way to come out. That anger coming out as, that's like spiteful. Like, to come out to your parents in a spiteful way, like you're using your sexuality to hurt them. It's probably not the best way to do it. And I went, God, you're right. Oh, yeah. So that really stuck with me. So I'm like, I I can't do that. That is not okay for me to do that. So I've had to I'm getting to the place where I can recognize the trauma that happened, that was caused in my childhood, that I experienced, and not be angry with them for it. I cannot be, I'm not saying that it's okay what they did, but not be spiteful and not try to act spitefully to them about it. This
Mhm.
happened. This is what happened, and I'm working through it. So until I get to that, I feel like I'm totally there. I don't feel like it's a good. I don't think I should come out to them until I've got to that point, because I don't want it to be a spiteful act. So that's where I'm at.
Hmm. I um I don't know if I've ever really come out to my sister. I think I may
Yeah.
have, but like I don't. I think it's just, again, my sister's one of those ones, like it's literally don't ask, don't tell with her. We don't talk about. Oh, and I've had this
Mm,
discussion with her, and it's like I love her, and she acknowledges that I am in therapy and that I have these podcasts, and she's really supportive, and it's not that she doesn't love me. I think that she has watched some of my content before, so I mean it's not that it's just one of those, and this is her journey, and I respect her journey. It's one of those,
mhm,
she's made it very clear she wants to live in the now, and that's not something that she wants to talk about. So like, and she'll ask me questions, and like she's really, now that we're in a different place in our relationship and we're older, like when we've been able to talk about some things, and we're slowly getting to that point where she's sort of just going, I don't understand, but okay. Like it's not, she's no longer
mhm.
like judging me. I mean, she may be judging me. I don't care. But see, I'm also in the place where I don't care. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I love you. And I just accept that that's where you are. And you're just either going to have to accept
Mhm.
where I'm at, because I can't control her. But I think she's also, I don't think that I've ever fully discussed it with her on that. I know, obviously I haven't talked to my mom. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Yeah.
um, but I think for me, and I know that there is a lot of okay.
Uh-huh.
If anybody who saw my just venting, just processing stream, know that there was I'm in the process of unpacking a lot of things in regards to me coming out, and my sexuality and being sexual, and my kinkiness, and all of that. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of shit that
Mhm.
I am that I mean I it's hard, I think, for me in that aspect of that. Me coming out, and I'm being very proud of that and being very matter of fact of that. I also don't think that people's sexuality defines who they are. Their sexual preference. Let me redefine that, because so many people, like, sexuality is such a broad term. My sexual identity as being a bi female, it does not define who I am. It is a part of who I am. Just like saying I am biracial. I am two races. I like two things. Like, it does not define who I am as a person. It doesn't mean that I'm going to go out and be wearing, the pink, purple, blue all day. Like, just, it doesn't define who I am. It is just who I am. And it's accepting that part of who I am. But then also I have to accept the fact that in me coming out does change things. I think that, and just accepting that it will change my relationships with some people, because, I think some of it, part of it, they feel a little deceived, and not deceived in a way of like, and I was being malicious about it, but it still hurts. Like, it still hurts. Like, you knew about this all the time, the whole time. And it's like, it's, I mean, and that's tough. And it's tough as an adult to have to deal with that. I can't imagine. Can you imagine? And us coming out to our parents, can you imagine how you feel? Your parents are going to look at you differently. They're going to, your relationship with your parents is going to change if you ever decide to do that. Now, some people don't ever decide to do that, and that is their choice. And I respect it 100%. I am not one of these people that is very militant about, like, you need to, no, everybody has their own reasons and their own journeys. And I respect that 100%. Either, like, that is your choice. And I am okay with it. If you want to come out, great. If you don't want to ever come out, that's fine. That's totally fine. I think it's the manner in which those people, I think that that's what I need. Like, I warn against, because I know that how I came out on stream, like, I just was like, hey, I'm bi. And it was just very public and very open. And it wasn't even very dramatic. It was just very matter of fact, still hurt people. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that at the time that some people didn't want to hear about me coming out on a public forum, but via somebody else. Like, it just be like, hey, that's probably a conversation that they wanted to hear from me in a private setting to give them time to process, but they didn't. I took that choice away from them, and like, that's how I mean, to face that reality and accept that responsibility is like, yeah, I mean, okay.
But how much responsibility should you feel for this is you coming out? That is your story.
Yeah, but there's also your type of relationship with them. Me coming out like that is like, there's some, you don't want to hear about a breakup. Like, say you're with somebody, you don't want to hear about a breakup on stream. Yeah, we broke up. I'm breaking up with them. You don't want to hear that. That's a conversation you want to hear in private. It's the same thing.
Yeah, so it depends upon your relationship with the person,
yes,
whether or not there's a responsibility.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So,
because I was like, if you get like 10 people in your life who are like, well, you should have told me individually. There's a point where you can only tell so many people before it ends up coming out anyway.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're right. I can see there are certain people in your life that, face to face,
and you can't go back and unring the bell, I think, in that. And I think that it's just where I was in my life. And I think that everybody's coming out stories different, and it's going to impact differently, and they're going to find out some way, shape, or form, or never find out. I think it's just a choice, that what you feel safe with. I think that's the biggest thing, is people don't seem who are surprised by sometimes this news is like, it's not that we're doing it maliciously. It's just that we didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe. Yeah. Did I go about it the right way? No, that's why it's a trauma response. Like, there's a lot of things that I did to maintain, like disassociation or hypersexuality or overeating or all of these things. These are coping mechanisms that I do because I wasn't safe, but it was my body and my mind keeping me safe. So sometimes I make those choices because I didn't feel safe, and I took the safest route that I thought. I took the safest route. Whether that hurt somebody else, okay. Like, I can acknowledge that just because I was trying to keep myself safe doesn't mean that I didn't bulldoze people along the way. So, I mean, I don't know. And luckily I did, like, my dad has been, my real dad has been really supportive of the LGBTQ community plus the LGBTQA. I just, I prefer that one. The LGBTQA. I don't care. Like, I think that forever. I think the community since I can remember. Like, he's the person that first introduced me to somebody that was openly gay. Hey, this is so-and-so and her partner. Because, back in time, you weren't allowed to marry then. But, like, and I was like, oh, and he, like, here is so-and-so and his partner. And it was nothing. It was just, it didn't change who they were. He didn't treat them any differently. And I think that that's how I was able to cope. I think that that's how, as somebody who is in a repressed community, a repressed religious community, it's when I questioned, it's when I started to go, they're not the evil monster devil Satan people that the church, like, they're not like piercings everywhere and like, all the dark evil, like, hail Satan, like, none of that. They were just normal people. And that's when I was like, so these feelings that I'm having, what does that mean? And it really just, my dad, he's just absolutely been completely supportive. He's been an ally before ally was a word, and ally was a thing. And he raised me that way. And luckily he's what he's really what helped me just really come to terms with that. And I still had my own journey to follow, obviously, but it's just one of those, okay. And that's why he didn't bat an eye when I came out. It was just what a thing. And when my kids were both like, when Nora was like, when she was younger, thinking she was bi, but now she's like, no, I'm straight. And I'm like, okay, you're straight. But, and Chloe's still trying to figure out her thing. And it's like, you just give them that space. But
yeah, let them know that whatever they choose is completely okay.
Yeah. And I think that it's because of my dad and because of Papa Roogs and his just absolute embracing of all people, regardless of who they are and what race they are. Like, my dad, I'm going to be real honest. My dad says some really racist things. Like, Dad, you can't say those things. You can't say those things. Like, but he, like, I say he grew up in a different time. He was that Filipino in an HBCU. Like, he in the 70s. So, he's seen and said, like,
some things. He said some things.
I really wish I could, but no. He said, I'm like, Dad, you can't. Yeah, I realize you're almost 70, but you can't say those things.
those things didn't age well.
To say old sailor. He is an old sailor too. Yes. Yeah. He is very, very much. He's. Yeah, it is what it is. But
Papa Roogs is great.
He did. He went to Florida A&M. My dad went to Florida A&M. He is
stories.
He does. He is actually very proud of that fact. He tried to get into the Naval Academy. He didn't get in, but he went on a Navy ROTC scholarship to, and he actually stayed with his roommate was also another Filipino in the Naval ROTC program, and so. That's like the two Filipinos on campus were like rooming together. They became best friends. It was, yeah. And then his sophomore year, he reapplied. Actually, the end of his freshman year, he reapplied and he got in again. But that means he would be starting over. And he had already gotten so far in his program that he decided to stay. So my dad could have gone to the Naval Academy, but he made a choice. And he's like, you know what? Is it worth it? Is it like, and so he made some choices. Like, he had already been advanced enough in his program that he was like, so, but yeah, he graduated from Florida A&M. And he's very proud of that fact. So when I started marching band, his idea of marching band in his head was very different, very traditional style, very he's like, the Marching 100. If you don't know what that is, the Florida name, like, they are very famous across the country, and so he would often, just because that's all he knew, he'd often make that comparison. And my dad was always very supportive of whatever I did. I think that is the difference between my mom and my dad.
That.
He was the one that was, I mean, when my parents divorced, he took it hard. I mean, and I only saw him, but he always, when he could, he would, whenever he could. And sometimes he'd make that. He tried. He did the best he could with what my mom allowed him to. And as I got older and I was able to start I had more freedom to make my own choices. I mean, now I'm not saying we didn't have rough times, because we did, just like any other parent relationship. But my dad, my dad and I have a special relationship. I think whenever anybody needs to talk some shit into my dad's a little afraid of me. I'm gonna be like real honest. Whenever anyone, like,
your dad will go toe to toe with anyone
but me,
except you. I've had those conversations with your dad where I'm like, Papa Roogs, Papa, you just no. But as soon as Roogs enters the conversation, he's like, all right, that's fine, okay, whatever. That's what we'll do. We'll do whatever she wants, and we'll do.
Even my stepmom has accepted that. Like, whenever she's struggling with him, she's like, I need you to talk to your father. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll call him. Let me text him.
Y'all have a great relationship.
It was hard for her. There was a couple years where it was, and I think that was the turning point of our relationship. And that's why he is, because I pretty much, I remember it was a huge fight. It was a turning point in him and my stepmom's relationship. And I gave it to him with both barrels, and we did not speak for over a year and lived 5 minutes apart from each other. And I think that's where a lot of our growth happened. A lot of our growth happened in that not speaking to each other, that big blowout that we had, and just having being able to have that honest conversation afterwards. I think he also wasn't able to deal with his own emotions, and being a parent is hard. But yeah, my dad is, after that point, my dad will always, it's one of those, he always listens to me, because there's not been a time where I have led him astray. So to my detriment, there are some things where I've had to change and evolve. And especially in my healing journey, where I've had to go, I am not taking care of this for you, because I've always been that person. So, but even now, my dad's been, this past couple of weeks after he saw me from Con Carolinas, like, he's been sending me like little memes, just like, we support you, I love you, like, like very much just reminders, because he's really a great dad. And he is imperfect. There's a lot of things I'm like, can you drink your coffee quieter? Or my dad's just like, there's a lot of things about him that I'm like, okay, and I'm on overload, enough. Like, but I think
make a short story long.
Yeah. Oh, long story short, that's always the fun one. That's like, my dad, in case you don't know, Papa Roogs' famous line is, make a long story short, and continues to tell the extended, unabridged version. And we're like, to make a long story short.
That phrase is now a comma for him. He's great. He is great. He's very supportive. That's one thing I've noticed about Papa Roogs. He loves you so much and is so supportive of you.
He is. He loves both his kids very much, and he loves everyone. I think that is just.
Yeah.
Never.
I noticed that since the very first time I met him.
Never meets a stranger.
All the years ago.
And they're like instant besties. Like, I think that's also the other thing. Shut up! I've already met you. Like, you're just coming. Like, it's just. He hugs everyone. He, like, at first he'll feed you for a time, and then after that, if you're a repeat performance, he is like, it's done. Y'all are besties at that point. And yeah, and I love that about him. Yeah. I always used to say that, like, I'd always joke. It's like, I always used to think that he'd like Chris better than me, because because he had two girls. So now he had like,
Yeah.
when I brought boys home, like, but like I was the first one to get married, and he was always
Uh-huh.
like, I'm like, oh my God. Chris
That's
is
what that.
Chris
Yeah,
is
that's what
getting
it
my dad
was.
in the divorce. Like I always used to say that.
Uh, that.
I think relationships with dads. Yeah, let's we have about 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I think because we spent 45 minutes talking about nothing, but that's fine. Um relationships
It's our
with
podcast. We talk what we want.
I know. Relationship with dads are very different than relationships with moms.
Mhm.
I
Oh
in
yeah,
our
absolutely.
generation. Let me preface that with
Yeah.
in our generation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think because I think a lot of that was the stereotypical. I think a lot of that was the dad. Dad has a specific role, and mom has a specific role. And like I think that's how I grew up. Mom stayed home and took care of the kids and all that stuff, and dad was off doing the job. Being the breadwinner. And, so topics are already. You're right.
Papa Riggs is the awesomest. He is the awesomest.
Yeah. Um, mom was dad was stoic. That was I think that's where my not learning how to deal with emotions and express emotions and identify emotions came from. Whereas mom was very different than that. So yeah, I think
I
really
don't know what stereotypical is like. I don't think. I think that
yeah.
they tried to instill that in us. I mean, really, really hard. They tried. I mean, obviously, I have those emotional scars, but it's like I don't know. Stereotypical, not.
See, they really tried to instill that. The father's the head of the household. The wife is supposed to submit. That was a big thing that was taught, and because my mom did it all the time. She would say it all the time. It's like, well, I have to submit to your father. I tell him what I think, but then it's his decision, and I have to submit to his. Yeah, that's what I grew up learning. Hmm. So yeah, I didn't take to that. I didn't really take to that. I mean, I did. Well, I did for a while, but like, yeah, yeah, that's how I grew up. That's how I grew up learning. I grew that, and then the church reinforced. Well, like I used to fight with her about it early on, like because if Dad would make a decision and she didn't agree with it, I'm like, if you don't agree with it, you can say something. You can help me out. You can because usually something that I'd done or whatever, and he wasn't going to let me do. No, no, I can't. Can't go against your father.
Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
can.
You're allowed to have a voice. The
If
Bible teaches. Yeah.
I had $1
Mm-hmm.
for every
Yeah.
time I heard the fucking Bible teaches. Where?
Right.
Where? Does it exactly? Oh, so you're pulling out this Bible verse? Does it really fucking teach that? Because all of these rules surrounding that doesn't seem to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Does it really say that, or is that just your interpretation of it?
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So there was a lot of that. So I grew up believing that the whole head of the household, the man is in charge, and the husband's in charge, and it's his responsibility. And yeah, learned I learned a lot and kind of carried that, whether I realized it or not, carried that with me for most, I'd say most of my life. So, and I think that's where some of the codependency came from. Is like I was in charge, I was responsible for the house.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
I think
definitely.
navigating after all the things, because I mean, I think that's the reason that my marriage went the way it did. Because I mean, my parents were divorced, and it was one of those what was reinforced by my mom, and it's like I trying to be the trad wife while not being a trad person.
Ooh, that's gotta be tough. That's
Yeah.
hit. Wow. Um, King of the castle. Yeah,
Because the
Yeah.
queen goes everywhere and
Yeah. And
can
the
only
king
go
goes
one
one
space.
space.
One space.
The queen's all over the board. The king's like,
Yeah, can go in any direction, do anything. No,
Mhm.
notice that. No, one space.
Yeah.
One space.
That is kind of funny.
Just
Yeah.
not say it, just say
Mhm. Mhm.
it.
Yeah. So it's been it's taken time unlearning a lot of those roles. Because I think whether whether or not I fully believe them, I kind of adopted them. Exposed to it for so long, it just kind of becomes how you act, even when I didn't realize it's what I was doing.
Right.
I was playing out those roles.
It's your belief system. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the belief system. You believe, just
yeah,
like, I'm not worthy of love. You say something to yourself over and over and over again. That's why words matter, because it's like, oh, what's the same thing? No, it's not. It is not.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is not. Words absolutely do matter. They're not the same thing.
Hmm.
They're not. And I am still trying to teach myself that. Like, I'm still trying to teach my phrasing matters. Words matter.
Yeah, yeah. I still find myself. I still catch myself a lot. I do it in therapy too. I catch myself in therapy, and I'll rephrase it. Try to rephrase it. So yeah, you're right.
Phrasing, Sean.
Phrasing.
Phrasing. Oh, that's something different. My bad.
That's a little different. But that's also why we kind of harp on that with our friends, is because we know, especially words spoken out loud. Because I think words spoken in your head versus words spoken out loud, I think there's a different way to them. So when our friends say something out loud, we're like, hey, we sometimes will call that out and let's let's see if we can say it different. Let's phrase it differently, because it tends to be a lot of very self negative talk. Um, and so that and that's a trauma response that's really hard
Is it?
to get over.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it very much is. So,
Yay.
yeah,
What a Father's Day
yeah.
episode. Not anything. It's very lackluster and out over the house. Oh, wait. Sort of like our relationships with our dads. Okay, that's cool.
Oh my god!
Can you
Wow.
tell we have mommy issues and not daddy issues? I used to think I had daddy issues for the longest time. I used to think,
Yeah.
because of my mom and because of all of those things and because of the way, like, I was gaslit into and belief systems, being made to believe that my dad was this horrible, like it was all his fault. And so I used to think I had all these daddy issues, which is why I was the way I was. But then in reality, I mean, my dad and I had issues, and there's still shit that we had to work through, but not. I realized that, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
handed love. Oh no, thank you. Puts love down on the ground and walks away. Yeah. How many of us have done that though? Here's healthy.
That's the hardest part. Yeah.
And you're
Usually
like,
it's the unhealthy one where we're like, oh, thank you, I'll take it.
right, because
The
it's
healthy one,
normal. Because it's normal
because
to
it
us. That's
feels
safe.
it
That's
feels
normal. That's, yeah,
Mhm.
that's
God,
normal.
the healthy love feels so uncomfortable when you're used to unhealthy.
Yes, because you were told it was wrong. You were told and made to believe that that type of love or that type of attention or that type was wrong, or you were needy, so getting the things that you actually need, getting the healthy things, you're instantly thinking, this is not right. This is not, like, you instantly want to reject it because you had to, as somebody who is traumatized. You instantly had to reject it because you were told to reject it, because you were told that, like, either you had to reject it so that you could survive whatever it is you were getting, or told that that was fantastical, or that was needy, or that was not realistic,
Hmm.
and that you need to just, that real people don't do that. Real friends don't do that, or real partners don't. That's not real. That's just in the movies, or that's just whatever. You were gaslit into thinking
Yes.
that that's not
That's
healthy,
unrealistic.
right?
Yeah.
Unrealistic.
The healthy thing, the healthy behavior, the healthy actions, that's in a movie. That's not realistic. That's, you're asking too much. You're expecting too much.
They're just
Yeah.
faking it.
No.
But they can do it.
Yeah.
No, that
Oh
they're
yeah.
just faking it. You don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
That's not real marriage. That's not real love. That's not real relationship.
Yeah.
That's not real affair. That's not real. That's not real. That is
Hmm.
not real. What we have is real. And so when
Yeah.
you're given that healthy, and you're given that like healthy real, like you're given what you are actually in that healthy position, you're all of a sudden,
Hmm.
because of your belief system, you're told that's not real. They're just pretending. You're waiting for
Yeah.
the bad thing to happen.
Or you're waiting. There's something, they're waiting for the shoe to drop. You're waiting for something to go wrong. You're waiting for either they're lying or something bad's going to happen, because because that's what you're used to. That's what I became used to. I thought my marriage was just how marriages went.
Oh, me too.
I thought, like, especially because it's what, when you look at media, when you look at like TV shows and stuff, they're really bad about Trump, or about showing the whole, oh, she's my ball and chain, she's the other. The way that spouses talk to each other in like in comedy shows and stuff, in sitcoms, is very much like, if if that was real life, that y'all need some counseling. That's not the way you should be talking to each other. And like, we see that, and so when it happens, when we start talking like that, we see it happens in our own relationship. We're like, well, that's normal, because that's what we've seen it played out like. Or in the other relationships, like your parents or other relations that they do the same thing. Just because they do it too doesn't make it healthy, doesn't make it normal, doesn't make it right. But we believe it does because we don't know any different. I believe that's just how relationships are. You get to a point and it's just like you coexist.
There's a difference between complacency and comfort.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I got trained, and I always say that I got trained to believe that complacent behavior and complacent feelings
Hmm.
was comfort. That
Hmm.
was, but it wasn't. There's a totally different, and I am learning that the more I am weeding out the toxic relationships in my life, or healing some relationships in my life, and filling my life with more people who are healthy for me, and give me more support and give me the healthy way, and then I'm able to, like, I am understanding the difference between comfort and complacency. And for a while, I thought comfort
Hmm.
was very uncomfortable. Comfort was very like, it had me edgy. Like, I'm feeling comfortable,
Hmm.
and like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. Like, but
You
no,
couldn't allow
right,
you couldn't allow yourself to be comfortable,
right.
because comfortable just meant you weren't thinking about all the things that could go wrong. Or comfort was,
I let my guard down, and I was gonna.
you let your guard down and then something's going to happen. And so you can't let yourself be comfortable, because you've got to be on guard for the bad thing that's going to happen. It inevitably will happen.
Right. But
So
comfort,
you're always on edge.
and I'm gonna say this, like, I think Team AOA, I think in like with Comic Palooza and Con Carolinas, I think I don't know about you, Sean. I mean, like, because I mean, everybody's different experiences in a group. But I think that just the comfort of that, the
Hmm.
safety, and I didn't feel
Hmm.
like it's just being accepted, and that my needs and my feelings and my wants and my emotions, no matter where I was at, and having to go, okay, she needs this, and we're going to give her that. And it wasn't questioned. It's not questioned. If I like, no, take care of yourself. Sure. Like, it's just accepting my needs, and it's safe. And that feeling of
Yeah.
safety, of being around people who love you without wanting something from you. and loving you in just that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
with the fact it's just we have that group where it's just like, hey, you need us to take the kids, sure, okay, like, and it's not even
Yeah.
just it's almost like you don't feel like it's real, like it's almost like, and like, you're like,
You're waiting for the price to pay. You're waiting
right,
for the bill. You're
yeah,
like, there's the bill's coming due. At some point, I'm gonna
yeah,
get a check, an invoice, and I've got to pay out all this because it can't possibly. The way I feel right now can't
right. But
be
what you
okay.
don't, but
Be
what
normal.
I think what I don't realize, and what, like, I think sometimes you and a lot of the others don't realize, is that we're all paying in. We're all equal
Yeah.
contributors.
Mhm.
We're already paying in. There's no balance due. There's no balance
Mm.
due. It's a budget that is flowing, and
We all pay in, and then sometimes we need to take out of that, but then you pay in as you can, and you take out as you can. And I really felt that that's how we work.
yeah,
Is whenever, like, when you're like, I'm not okay right now. Like, you got to take care of you. You are not the role that you are in the team. You are more than the role you are in the team.
mhm,
You are a person, and we care about you, the person, more than we care about the role within the team,
right,
the team member. So when you got to take care of yourself, we're going to figure out how to do what we need to do to get it done so you can take care of yourself. And worst case, the thing just doesn't happen. And that's going to be okay because you are more important than whatever else is going on.
right. I think that is, I don't know. I think that's good. I think it's
Mhm.
comforting. I think that the comfort in that we never got from our parents.
Nope. I don't think we got that from, I don't think we got, I didn't get that from much anywhere. Like, I think a lot of where I was, the groups that I belonged to, it very much felt like I was only as good as what, oh God. Wow. Thanks, Jay.
I mean, not wrong, but
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I
But
think
yeah, I think that was belonging to groups, so many groups. It's like, what, I'm only as good as what I am contributing constantly. As soon as I can't contribute, there's a problem. Or I am only people only care about me so much as what I can do for them.
right.
So if I stop contributing, and this is something I'm still dealing with, if I stop
What?
contributing, I know, right? Both personally and professionally, the moment I stop contributing, is the point I lose worth, I lose value to the people.
To the
So
people.
it's that need to push through, to constantly do. That's a tough one.
This is a very random episode.
It's like Father's Day gifts. You never know what you're gonna get.
I know. That's right. Right. Like, and I think I think honestly, and this is my opinion, and I think,
Mhm.
I mean, we can end on this, because speaking of Father's Day, I have to go and help my kids with their Father's Day stuff. Um, but I think that fathers get gypped a lot. I think that they get robbed a lot, and in that is, and I think that's a very traditional mindset as well, um, because the father was out of the house so much. The father was providing so much. So yeah, we're gonna appreciate dad, but it's not gonna be nearly as toted and as pushed as Mother's Day, because appreciate mom for
Yeah.
everything she's done for you, but appreciate dad for, but in the reality of it is that, and I am learning to accept that, is that we're, like you said, parents are equal contributors. And I think that and I think now that I am, in a separate household, my kids are doing and we're doing 50-50. Unlike my parents, where it was like I live with my mom
Mhm.
and but I think we're doing 50-50, and having that making sure that it's like one is not better than the other, doesn't contribute more than the other, I think is important. And my kid's dad loves them. And yes, he's a different person and he parents differently, but he still loves them and provides for them just as much as I love and provide for them. And just because it looks different doesn't mean that he's not doing everything and doing the same things that I am. He's just doing it differently. And I think that dads are just as important, I think, or the second parent, let's just say parental one, parental two, like, cause again, it's just, I think that having like, oh, well, one person does this role, one person, no, it's just, that's who their personalities are. That's just who they are as parents. And that's okay. I think honestly, over the years and over the decades that dads have been dismissed a lot,
No, I think you're right. I mean, you look at the statistics, you look at the data. I mean, the data supports that. Like the amount of money that is spent on Mother's Day versus Father's Day is
absolutely is
insanely. There's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah.
Like Mother's Day was like considered the second most celebrated holiday under Christmas, and Father's Day was like 20th.
Right. I think that's sad. I really do. I think I wouldn't be the person I am without my dad. And I don't, honestly, there are points in my life, and I might cry now. I think about it, and there are points in my life that I wouldn't have survived without him. And like a lot of my trauma comes from my mom. So why am I going to celebrate that over my dad? Like, my dad is a very huge reason why I am able to have compassion. He, in a time where I could have completely, he was my lifeline to, my dad was my lifeline. He taught me about compassion and empathy toward people, how to be kind. And he's fucked up. He's got his shit too. And again, he's not perfect, but just who he is as a person. He's the whole reason that I survived in a lot of ways, and that I held on to parts of myself that could have easily been destroyed by the things that were happening in my primary household and by the church. And he's the whole reason that I am the person I am today. And I think that sometimes the dads get overlooked. So
I think you're right. Yeah.
And there are some shitty dads out there, just like there's some shitty moms. We're not going to sound, and there's some dads who are not in your life either. And we're going to acknowledge that too, just like we did with Mother's Day. Like if you don't have a dad in your life or a father figure or a male figure in your life at all, that's okay too. And if today sucks for you, we totally get it. Like we totally get it. I mean, if today is something that you don't want to acknowledge, or if, whatever that is for you. Because I think that Father's Day, I think now in the day that we are, I think that, it's great. It's great to celebrate your father. I think that because we've moved past so much of these traditional family, I think that these just sort of like Valentine's Day, like what the fuck? Like, if you don't want to celebrate today, great. If you don't want to acknowledge today, great. If you want to celebrate, throw a big party, also great. But be where you're at.
Celebrate the people in your life, regardless of their role.
Right. Be where you're at.
You don't need a special day to reach out to the people that you care about and who are in your life, and thank them for being there.
Doesn't change that you exist. And we're glad that whatever DNA, because I mean, obviously, some type of male DNA had to get for you to exist, just like any female DNA. I am glad you exist. Whatever was taken to contribute to that, we are very glad that all of you exist, and that's all that matters. All that matters is that you exist and that you are here, regardless of what day it is. All right. The youngest hatchling. Mom, are you done? Female guardian. Hello. And I literally am watching it. That one. she's in therapy. So, and I am glad for that, since she's actually dealing with some shit and learning how to communicate. And again, it's still a slow process, but okay, I'm very good. But now this girl,
Uh-oh. Uh-huh.
this girl's like not afraid. And she doesn't do that so much with, I mean, she does a little bit with Searix, but she doesn't definitely with me. She's very much, me and my kids have a very different relationship than I do with my mom. So, are you done yet? Are you done? I'm hungry, and I'm like, we have to. Okay, boo-boo, it's fine. He's busy watching the Astros play the Tigers right now, so it's fine. Like they're because we were actually going to take him to a baseball game because they're the Tigers are in town. The Detroit. If you don't know, Searix is from Detroit, so he is a big Michigan fan, the Lions or Red Wings, just and it's fine. Just like I'm a big Carolina fan, but the Tigers are in town playing the Astros, and so we were going to go to a game, but he's like, the tickets are astronomical, so he's like, but yeah,
the Astro tickets were astronomical.
And with that, thanks everybody for watching, and we hope to see you later.
I ended with the dad joke.
Oh, you're right. And with that, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.